Warning. If you are squeamish when talking about bodily functions, this episode may not be for you.
This guy drove down here from Omaha. He is the host of the Laugh With Me podcast. Give it up for Jeremy Odem.
You know when you get a hose, and then the hose is running, and you get your thumb, on the running hose, and you just kind of like spray it everywhere? This guy, and I'm sure he was on his way to the ER.
Welcome back to a brand new episode. This is Laugh With Me, a podcast with Jeremy Odem. I am your host, J.O. Oh, man, we've got a special one for you today. It is, once again, story time with J.O. I finally made it back to the stage, live comedy, just the other night in Lincoln, Nebraska. Oh, it felt good to be back on stage. Now, was I in my prime? No, okay? It's been a year, almost a year, since I've been doing live comedy on stage. And I'll get into all that, but, it felt good to get up there. It felt good to hear some laughs. It felt good to talk about the things that happened to me on that day as well. It was very therapeutic. And that's, that's where story time comes in, folks. A moment in time, something that I'll never forget. Something happened to me at work that very day on a normal Tuesday morning at the gas station. At least I thought it was. It's one of those days where you're like, things seem to be going well, and then something very tragic happens. Something that may change your life forever. And some people, when they have those big changes, it's like, all right, my life, I had to pivot from here, right? Like, this is a monumental bookmark in my life, and I had to pivot, and for the positive. Some people, it is for the negative, and there's repercussions from it. This is one of those things where I'm not so sure that it is going to be negative. It was certainly in the moment. Is it going to be long-standing negative? I don't know. I think it's something that maybe I'm going to be able to grow from, and something that, maybe will make me a better person. I certainly think it's given me a little bit of content in order to be able to create a funnier and a new joke. I don't know if it's funnier, but a new joke. And being the guy that I am, I use that moment to start my set with when I haven't been on stage for nearly a year. I don't know if that was the best move. Most people would want to be prepared and have, jokes that they're working on, that they have worked on, and that maybe the normal go-tos, stuff they've done before. It's like, all right, I can fall back on this, and here we go. I know this is going to work, and just help me get back in the motions. Now, not me. I like to whatever's top of mind and what I'm really excited about in that moment. And sometimes it just happens hours before I go on stage. That is what happened on this one. And you know what? And the performance shows that. But that's where I got to improve, and I'm gonna get better. But damn, did it feel good to get back on stage. I want to thank the Storm Cellar for hosting the Spicy Jokes event, Spicy Jokes 4. It was a lot of fun. So here's how it went down. Kent Muslasky, he's been on the show. He's been a guest on the show, and he was with me the last time I performed in Lincoln 2 years ago, and part of the famed second show in Lincoln that was the worst bombing of my life. He was there. He also experienced everything I experienced. But he asked me to be on the show. I was super excited. This is his show, and basically we get 10 minutes. And throughout the 10 minutes, spicy jokes. So we're eating spicy wings. There's 5 wings that each one exceedingly gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And the 5th one, it was like, all right, so there was like mild, medium, hot, extra hot, and then melt your fucking face off. That was the 5 flavor profiles. And you start with mild and move on your way up. I'll tell you what, I like to eat hot wings. Like I eat, like mango habaneros and generally can get through, however many are in front of me and no issue. Other than, it's hot. I mean, obviously the normal hot reactions, but that melt your face off one. I ate that. I finished the set. I sat down. I got so lightheaded. I'm drinking my beer. Water, milk, any of those things probably would have been better suited for the situation I was in. But I had a Corona in front of me, so when in Rome, you melt your fucking face off with the Corona. But it was a lot of fun. So thank you, Kent, for inviting me to be on the show. It was awesome. And if you are in Lincoln or if you're near Lincoln and when the next one comes up, go to the show. It was a lot of fun. Storm Cellar was it's a great venue. It has its own charm, for where it's at, and you go there. I mean, you're in a special place. Like this is its own. There's no duplicates of this venue, but it's a lot of fun. The staff there was incredible, and kudos to Kent for hosting a great show, and thank you again for having me on. But I melted my fucking face off with those hot wings, but that's okay. The wings themselves, I'm actually really upset because I don't remember where he got the wings from. He mentioned it a couple times. So I don't remember where he got the wings from. They were very good. So I want to go back to Lincoln and go to the place and eat more of the wings because they were incredible. I just have to be better prepared when I eat those face-melting hot wings. Today's episode is sponsored by Podup.com. Have you ever thought about creating your own episode? Like having your own podcast? What are you waiting for? Get started at Podup.com. They're one of the sponsors of this podcast, and they'd love to someday sponsor yours. Starting is as easy as creating an account at Podup.com today. Podup has literally everything that you need to run a full professional show. Podup has over 35 different tools with AI integration to further help you succeed. Create a free starter account or get a paid account for 15% off with code LaughWithMe15. That's LaughWithMe15. So go check out Podup.com, or if you're wanting a podcast that's done for you where you pay an agency to do all the website, social media, and editing work, check out PodAllies.com. PodAllies is an agency run by the folks that literally built the Podup podcasting software. Get started with them at PodAllies.com. Get 15% off when you sign up today for Podup or PodAllies with code LaughWithMe15. We can't wait to create with you and launch your podcast. Now back to the show. So the show itself was a lot of fun. It felt good to get back on stage. I need to get back on stage more. I need to hit some mics. Work on the jokes, okay? You can't just fall back on the thong song forever, okay? You really can't. When nobody knows who you are and you're going on stage and you're doing the thong song joke like it's Bert Kreischer's, Russian joke. I mean, it's not it. That just ain't it. So I got to keep working. I got to keep working on this. But I will say, what happened to me on Tuesday at work, that's going to sit with me for a little bit. Okay? And that's why at the top of the show we had a warning. I'm telling you right now, if you get queasy or you just don't do well with bodily fluids, this one may not be for you, man. Because what I dealt with at the gas station on Tuesday, this is what nurses deal with. That's what they do. That's what they get paid for. They know. They don't like doing it. Shoot. But they do it. This is what they encounter. I generally have to deal with mess on the counter from the fountain pop machine or spilled ketchup or, somebody using a cup and then not wanting it and just leaving it on the ground. Like, I'll pick that up. Like, that's my mess. Not this. So somebody comes over and is like, no, it's one of my employees. And he's like, hey, you gotta go in the men's room. Somebody made the biggest mess in there, and it's bad. And he immediately leaves where I'm at and goes to the front to be busy at the register. And this is a guy who definitely isn't looking for things to do. He's just like, yeah, I'm out of here. I am so busy right now. So that's my first clue that this is going to be a bad deal. So then one of my coworkers, she goes back there. She overheard it, and she's like, I got to see this. And I'm like, you see it. You're going to be the one to clean it up. Like, this is just going to be a disaster. She peeks in the men's room, yells, oh, my God, laughs, says, I have to get a picture. So she takes a picture, and I haven't been in there yet. And then she comes out and she's like, I gotta go. I have to cook. Like, there's just no way. I'm like, this is falling on me, isn't it? She's like, yeah, this one's all you. Somebody went in the men's room, and this is like a single, one at a time. You lock the door. It's got a urinal in there, and it's got a toilet and a sink, and that's it. Walks in there, and instead of using the toilet, shits all over the wall. And when I say all over the wall, and here's the thing. You could be like, all right, they couldn't get to the toilet. No, they got to the toilet. The wall directly behind and to the sides of the toilet. Just shit all over the walls, chest high down. All dripping, because it's nothing solid. There's nothing solid here, dropping straight to the floor. The smell. The visual was intense. The smell. Holy cow. Holy cow. Jojo, if you used to work at a grocery store. I know you're an electrician now by trade, but you used to work at the grocery store. Hopefully you never had to deal with anything like this. So I get a peek. I see this. I go out, and I'm like, I have to. What am I gonna do? So I lock the door so that way nobody. Because I don't want to hear about it. Like, I don't want another person going in there and being like, "What are you doing? You got to clean your restrooms." Like, I know I got to clean my restroom. Somebody shit all over the walls. So then I'm like, all right, so I lock it. I put a sign on the door, just say temporarily out of order. I put a big ass cone. Normally it's those tall orange cones we would put in front of the pumps if like a gas pump's down or something. I took one of them big ass cones. I put it right in front of the door. I'm like, nobody goes in here. Like, it is a biohazard right now. And then I got to hype myself up. Like, I'm working, but I'm in my head. Like, I'm walking the store, and I'm facing, and I'm picking up trash, and I'm wiping counters. Like, I'm keeping myself busy while I'm also like, you got this. Like, you got this. Like, nobody is more prepared for this moment right now than you are. I've been in this business since I was 14 years old. 1998, I started in this business. And ever since then, I felt like I've been one of the best to do it. I really do. And there have been times in my career that I've proven that very thing. Whether that's been in my service, whether that's been in my friendliness, whether that's been in my ability to make money, cut expenses, or manage expenses, I have been able to do the things that need to be done when they need done. This is one of those moments. I don't know. I had to hype myself up for this. I'm like, motherfucker, nobody has been more prepared to clean up this shit today than you. You have been trained and prepared and gone through the ringer of every part of this business for this very moment. That shit on that wall is just a challenge for you. And you've got this. And I had to hype myself up, I'm like an Olympic athlete, like getting prepared to go and compete for a gold medal. I had to get Mamba mentality, quite frankly. I really did. So I went, I got all the cleaning materials I needed, and trash bags, and paper towels, and paper towels, and all the things, all the cleaners, everything. I put on these elbow high rubber gloves. I put on a mask. This is the first mask I've had in years. It's like 2020 was such a terrible time for the world, because of the COVID. It's like that was peak time, for grocery employees. Like we were essential back then. Like we mattered. People were so freaking nice to us. Sure, we had to wear a mask at work, whatever. It is what it is. It wasn't anything that ever really bothered me. But we mattered to people. They counted on us. We had to show up to work to take care of people. We were all they had. We were literally the only social interactions a lot of people had. Now, 2024, shit on the walls for us, please. Oh, the smell. I don't know if I'll ever get that smell out of my nose. Hopefully none got in there. I mean, it was liquid, like it was splashing. So I get myself hyped up, right? And guys are standing out front, like lined up. And I'm like, guys, the sign, the cone, like everything, like you could smell it. Like something's bad in there. Like use the women's. Not many women come in here. What is that about gas stations? It's not that women don't go to gas stations. They certainly do. But the grocery store, the primary shopper is female. It is not that way at the gas station. It is definitely it swings more male than female. Is it the females don't like to get gas or don't get gas very often? I mean, is their male counterpart the one getting the fuel? Or they just don't go in the gas station to get the goods in there? Is there something wrong with the item selection within there? I find that fascinating. If there's studies being done about that, I would literally read it. Student of the game, baby. So I get there. I'm like, just use the other. There's two doors. Just use the other one. I go in. Luckily, the mask helped with the smell. Luckily. I go in there, and I'm just like, how do I even attack this? Because it's everywhere. Like, everywhere. And I start with the walls, and I figure I'll work my way down. And I did have one, and it was early on, I did have one moment where I was gagging so hard that I did think I was going to puke in my mask. And I'm like, I instantly thought, well, if I'm going to puke, I have to leave the bathroom because I'm not going to puke all over shit. It's just going to keep coming. Like, it's just going to be, it's going to be a problem for a while. And then there's no way I'm going to be able to clean this up. And then who's going to clean it up? Nobody has prepared their life for this moment more than me. Like, how would we get through the day? We'd have to close it off for the whole day, and that's just bad for business. So the smell. I mean, just the smell. I got through it. I didn't puke. Mind over matter, right? Mamba mentality. And then got that cleaned up. Got the toilet cleaned up. Got the floor cleaned up. Everything was sterile. Whole place back for business. But there's no airflow in that bitch, and it still smelled terrible. Like it just was in the air. And I didn't want to prop the door open and have that fucking shit smell all through the whole store. So it was like air fresh. And I'm just constantly spraying air freshener. It was awful. Like the only way to describe this is like if somebody, when you take a hose that's running and you put your thumb over it and it just kind of sprays everywhere. Like that's what somebody did to their asshole. Like they put their thumb up to it and just sprayed shit everywhere. Like that's just not something I thought was going to have on a Tuesday. So I got it cleaned up. I was pretty freaking proud about that. I go outside and get some fresh air, and I'm like, I've got to, get this out of my head, right? Like, this is just something that happened, and I need to move on. So I take the trash bag, and it was a full trash bag. I take it out to the dumpster. Now, the dumpster's in the parking lot, but it's on the other end of the it's at the far back parking lot. It's, nowhere near the station itself. So it's over there, but it's a windy day. I go back inside. The first customer I have at the counter, I'm like, I got to help people. I got to get my mind out of this, right? The first person I see, he's wearing a T-shirt, and it says, "Maybe you were created for this moment." maybe you were created for this moment. I look at him and I go, I sure hope not. And that's, hey, Jojo. He's paying attention, folks. We may have ourselves a producer after all. Nice job, dude. I sure as shit hope I wasn't created for this moment, but that's how I set myself up, right? Like I had to tell myself I was created for this moment. Man, so I'm helping customers and I'm like, all right, this is okay. Like things are only gonna get better from here. This guy comes in. He's like, you guys are great. I've got one complaint. And as I was walking in, your store smells like shit. And I go, no, it smells good out here. He goes, no, outside. I'm like, how is that possible? Like the wind caught the trash like bag and carried the shit smell. Like that's how bad this was up to the front of the door. And they're like getting this shit smell. Because we even have like a little vestibule like when you walk in. So it's not like the smells in the gas station. It is not anymore. I mean, it isn't. It wasn't a men's room. I mean, it smelled like hell in there for the whole day, but it smelled terrible outside too. And I'm like, dude, that was one of your own. Like, get your people in line. We didn't do this. That was one of your people. Shitting all over my walls. And you know, if you've listened to the show, you know I have Crohn's disease, so it's not like I don't understand that when a moment hits, like, things are going down. Like, sometimes when you're ill, and that's the thing, I have to think that this guy who went into the gas station and shit all over the walls, I have to think he stopped there on his way to the ER. Like, he had to be on his way to seek medical attention. Had to have. So I get it. I don't necessarily always have like that issue of when the moment's going to hit, I'm going to shit myself. I have those farts. Like I'll have those like, you know, burning trash farts at times that I can't control. And it's going to happen. Like I get that from time to time. And that's why I sleep with the weighted blanket. You just kind of got to have to hold it down, you know? I don't know. It's the only way, I guess, to overcome that rotting carcass smell in my house at night. But having that issue, that's the thing. I've learned that you just have to be strategic of where you're at when that happens. You know, the best place to fart at a grocery store? Specialty cheese section. Yep. People are going to think that cheese is aged perfectly for them. Oh, yeah, so that was the thing. I had this like traumatic work moment happen on Tuesday night, first performance in nearly a year. It was the end of 23, the last time I was on stage. Now, here's why. Was it because I wasn't getting bookings? No, I had opportunities. In fact, there was a couple that I was committed to that I was going to do, and then my health has not been good for the majority of this year. It hasn't. The before mentioned Crohn's disease has just wreaked havoc on me in 2024. Now, finally, I have in the last month received some medical attention and some help. Finally, that is helping me. I'm starting to feel good again. So then that's where, all right, I'm ready to like be funny. Like I'm ready to get on stage because it's hard. Like when you're just physically, mentally so drained all the time and you know you're sick, you feel sick, you're exhausted, but you still have to go to work every day. And then you're like, all right, now I want to work on like I want to be creative. It's like not only physically are you too tired to do it, mentally. Jesus, mentally was the hardest part. I just couldn't get my mind right in order to be in a position to try to write or try to perform, and it's tough. It's tough. But I'm starting to feel a little better, so I'm like, let's get out, let's go do stuff. Like let's see what's up. Man, it felt so good. So yeah, thank you again to Kent put me on there, and to go back to Lincoln after that second show in Lincoln 2 years ago, where it was just the bombing of all bombs. It was bombs over Baghdad. It was bad. To be able to go back to Lincoln on stage and hear laughter, that did it for me. Like that did a lot for me mentally. Thank you, JoJo. I know Joe wasn't there, but I know if he was, he would have been cheering like that. Yeah, I know he would have. But yeah, so it was awesome show. Really bad cleanup at the gas station. But I had an idea. I had a set list, right? I had jokes. I had things I wanted to talk about. And then that happened, and I'm like, I just kind of have to, like, talk about this. Like, I want to get in front of people and talk about the shit on the wall. So then I had to write all this, jokes. And they weren't even, like, really jokes as much as they were just, like, telling my stories. And, it was fun. It actually worked perfect for the type of show we were doing with the wings, because it's like there was a lot of stop and starts within the set of eating the wings, and then I just had no clue how I was going to handle the wings and how hot they were going to be and how it was going to impact me. And so, no, it ended up working out perfect to be able to talk about that guy who shit all over the bathroom. But so that's it, JoJo. I don't know if you would ever want to. I mean, that's the thing. Like, if we ever had, a studio where we had guests, like, well, shit, we have guests here, but like, if it was open to the public and people could come to the Laugh With Me podcast studios, and they could see it, and they could see we're recording, and they could watch a show or whatever, and just kind of see everything that happens here. One of the feature things they could see is like a men's room with shit all over the walls, and we'd have to like pump in smell and just give them like kind of that full experience. I have a picture of it. I took a picture of it. This is not something I wanted to do. This was something I had to do just so that I could prove that it actually happened. I'm holding on to this picture just in case somebody, the haters, are like, that didn't happen, Jeremy. You're a liar. There's nobody just shits on the wall all around the toilet. And I'm like, no, this happened, and I cleaned it up. And that toilet was pristine when I was done. I would put the picture out there if people wanted to see it, but I am not about to put it out there without some kind of warning. That's why I put the warning in front of the episode. And we were called a weirdly wholesome podcast, comedy podcast. Because most comedy podcasts out there aren't so wholesome. Well, today we threw that out the window, huh? Yeah, we went straight for the shit and the poop jokes. Down in the gutter with the rest of them. Down in the gutter with Theo, Bert Kreischer, Tom Segura, Bobby Lee, Joe Rogan too, probably. I don't know how deep in the shit he gets. He gets in everything else. Yep. We stoop low today. Hey, that's what you got to do sometimes. JoJo, story time with JL, man. We did all this, and we play any clips from we haven't even played any clips from the show. So we're gonna play some clips from the show down the line, because what I think might be fun is to do like a watch along episode where we listen to the set and then like critique it in real time. I think that could be fun. Again, I haven't been on stage in nearly a year, so I'm no Matt Rife up there, but it was fun to get back on stage, and more to come. But thank you so much for listening. Story time with Jo. We've got a new episode coming to you very, very soon. In fact, I think we're creating some new shit here here at the Laugh With Me Studios that JoJo and I are going to have out very soon, maybe even as early as tomorrow, the Friday. And that's just, if you're a football fan, especially of a team that is maybe within the bottom 5 of the NFL, it's something you might be interested in. But thanks for listening. Hopefully I didn't gross you out too much. I just know that I cleaned all that shit up and I didn't puke once. You know why? Because I'm built different.